Structural properties ASTM D719 ISO 178. The stress-strain behavior of polymer in fracture is of interest to a designer as well as a polymer manufacturer. Fractural strength measures the flexibility of a polymer. Is the ability of material to withstand bending forces applied perpendicular to its longitudinal axis. So this is the longitudinal axis of the polymer and the load is exactly applied at perpendicular to it. The stresses induced by the flexural load are a combination of compressive and tensile stresses. So these are the compressive forces and these are the tensile forces, because this load will cause both tensile and compression. This effect is illustrated in the figure 2-16, forces involving in bending a simple beam. So in tensile test we have taken a dumbbell shaped sample, but in this we will take a beam. Okay. Fractional properties are reported and calculated in terms of the maximum stress and strain that occur at outside surface of the test bar. Many polymers do not break under flexure even after a large deflection. That makes determination of ultimate flexural strength impractical for many polymers, because बहुत से polymer break नहीं होते लेकिन bend हो जाते हैं. In such cases, the common practice is to report flexural yield strength when the maximum strain in the outer fiber of the specimen has reached 5%. For polymeric materials that break easily under flexural load, the specimen is deflected until a rupture occurs in the outer fibers. There are several advantages of flexural strength test over tensile test. If a material is used in the form of a beam and if the service failure occurs in bending, then a flexural test is more relevant for design or specification purposes than a tensile test, which may give a strength value very different from the calculated strength of the outer fiber in the bending. The flexural specimen is comparatively easy to prepare without residual strain. Naturally, the specimen for tensile we have to make a dumbbell shape, but here we just need a beam. So it is easy to prepare. The specimen alignment is also more difficult in tensile test because you have to clamp them, one to the non-moving part and other to the moving part. So also tight clamping of the test specimen creates stress concentration points. One other advantage of the flexural test is that at small strains, the actual deformations are sufficiently large to be measured accurately, because you can really see the bending of the beam. There are two basic methods that cover the determination of flexural properties of plastic. Method 1. A 3-point loading system utilizing central loading on a simple supported beam. Like एक बीम हमने रख दी और उसके ऊपर सेंट्रल लोडिंग की. A bar of rectangular cross section rests on two supports and is loaded by means of a loading node midway between the supports. So this is called 3-point loading. 2 point at support and 1 point loading. The maximum axial fiber stress occur on a line under the loading nodes. A close-up of the specimen in the testing apparatus is shown in the figure 2-70. The method is especially useful in determining flexural properties for quality control specification purposes. This one. Okay, 3-point loading system. Close-up of a specimen shown in flexural testing apparatus. Method 2. It is very useful in testing material that do not fail at the point of maximum stress under a 3-point loading system. The maximum axial fiber stress occurs over the area between the loading noses. Schematic of specimen arrangement in vectorial testing. So this is the support span, this is the beam. Either method can be used with the two procedure. Procedure A is designed principally for material that break at comparatively small deflection. Procedure B is designed particularly for those materials that undergo large deflection during testing but do not break. The basic difference between a two-portion procedure is the strain rate. Procedure A is 0.01 inch per minute, and for procedure B it is zero point 0.1 inch per minute, because there is a large deflection here. See, this is clamp nearby, but in this method too it is quite far away. And it is a 4-point loading system, utilizing 2 points here and 2 points on the top. So in this method, test bar rests on two supports and is loaded at 2 points, each an equal distance from the adjacent support point. So जो मटेरियल फेल नहीं होते 3-point लोडिंग सिस्टम में, उन्हें हम मेथड 2 से यूज कर सकते हैं. Apparatus. Quite often, the machine used for tensile testing is also used for fractural testing. The upper and lower portion of the movable crosshead can be used for fractural testing. The dual-purpose load cell that indicates the load applied in tension as well as compression facilitates testing of the specimen in either tension or compression. One such universal testing machine is shown in figure 2/19. The machine used for this purpose should operate at a constant rate of crosshead motion over the entire range, and the error in the loading measuring system should not exceed 1% of the maximum load expected. The loading nose and the support must have cylindrical surfaces. The radius of the nose and the nose support be at least 1/8 of the inch to avoid excessive indentation or failure due to stress concentration directly under the loading nose. A strain gauge or mechanism type of mechanism called a deflectometer or compressometer is used to measure the deflection in the specimen. Test specimen for conditioning. The specimen used for fractural testing are bars of rectangular cross section, a beam, simple beam, and are cut from sheet plates or molded sheets. The common practice is to mold the specimen to the desired finish dimension. The specimen are conditioned in accordance with procedure A of ASTM methods D618 as explained in chapter 11 of this book. The specimen size is 1/8 into 1/2 into 4 inch are the most commonly used, where 4 inch is the length, half inch is the breadth, and 1/8 is the thickness. Test procedure and calculation. The test is initiated by applying the load to the specimen at specified crosshead rate. The deflection is measured either by a gauge under the specimen in contact with it in the center of the support span, or by measurement of the motion of the loading nose relative to the supports. A load diffraction curve is plotted if the determination of flexural modulus value is desired. The maximum fiber stress is related to the load and sample dimension and is calculated using the following equation, where the maximum fiber stress is equals to 3 PL upon 2BD square, where S is the stress in PSI per square inch, and P is the load in pounds, L is the length of span. Okay, L is not the length of the specimen, L is the length of the span, because when you will apply the the point load on its center, then there will be a deflection. Some part of the beam will go down, and because of that, there will be a change in its length. So that changed length is the length of the span. B is the width of the specimen, like it will be same, and thickness of the specimen will also be same. Only length of the span. Okay, remember this. The fractural strength is equals to the maximum stress in the outer fibers at the moment of break. This value can be calculated by using above stress equation by letting load value be equal to the load at the momentum of break. Okay. For materials that do not break at outer fiber strains up to 5%, the fractural yield is calculated using the same equation. The load value P in this case is maximum load at which there is no longer increase in load with an increase in deflection. The maximum strain in the outer fibers, which also occurs in midspan, is calculated using the following equation. Now the maximum strain, that was the formula for stress. Now the maximum strain is given by R equals to 6 capital D into D upon L square, where R is strain inch per inch, D is deflection in inch, length of span, and D is thickness, okay, of the specimen. Small d is the thickness of the specimen, capital D is deflection. The equation for calculating maximum fiber stress and maximum fiber strain are slightly different in method 2. Modulus of elasticity. The flexural modulus is the measure of stiffness during the first or initial part of the bending process. The value of the flexural modulus in many cases equals to the tensile modulus. The flexural modulus is represented by the slope of the initial straight line portion of the stress strain curve and is calculated by dividing the change in stress by the corresponding change in strain. Y2 minus Y1 upon X2 minus X1. That's how you get the slope. The procedure to calculate flexural modulus is similar to the one described previously for tensile modulus calculation. So you can see the tensile modulus calculation. Difference in stress, difference in corresponding strain. Same can be applied for flexural strain. So I hope this flexural test is clear to you. ASTM D790. Two systems are there, 3-point loading and 4-point loading. Same universal testing machine is used. Two formulas are there. Just remember them. And instead of dumbbell shape, you are simply using a polymeric beam in this case.